we are with State Representative Bill Ramos from the 5th District. And congratulations, this week you actually passed one of your bills. And I think that was Bill 1789. It's a property tax exemption for adult family homes, but it's not really a new exemption. So talk to us about this bill.
Thank you for that question. And yes, I was very happy this week, the first bill of the session that I passed. And this bill, I'm very proud of the fact it also passed 95-1. I call that a pretty bipartisan work that we did on this bill. Adult family homes for people with developmental disabilities and intellectual disabilities are a critical need in our state, and I believe across the nation as well. These homes typically hold, 5 or 6 adults with a caregiver living with them. And there are thousands of people waiting for a spot to get into these homes. So we are in dire need to build more. And these homes have been typically run by nonprofits, which makes them tax exempt. And it's been that way for decades. And just recently, a new auditor came up with a ruling that said they wouldn't be tax exempt because the caregiver was paid for their services, which they should be. But that shouldn't remove the tax exempt status of the home that was built and paid for and maintained by the nonprofit. So we just needed to put into law that, yes, these homes, if they serve adults living in community with developmental disabilities or intellectual disabilities, and they're run by a nonprofit, they should not pay taxes because these funds they can use to, again, maintain the house, serve their clients, and also their job is to build more of these homes. And they take this money that they're saving from their taxes, and they've got about 5 homes now, and they're working to build more. And that's what we need. We need more homes. So we want to take this money and put it into homes because the need is great.
Okay. And then the second thing I wanted to ask you is about a budget proviso. And this has to do with domestic terrorism. Please talk to me about this.
I've been working with Representative Berg and myself and a lot of community members that have had incidents happening in their communities of domestic terrorism. There have been threats from various groups. There have been many armed people in communities walking around, and it's quite threatening. And we don't know what to do with those, bluntly. The United States has warnings out about domestic terrorism being the biggest threat to our democracy right now. Yet in the state of Washington, we don't even have a handle on getting all the data on what's happening and what to do when something like that does happen. When something happens in your city or your county, it's local law enforcement that will respond to that. But this issue is across the state, and we're trying to get a true understanding of how big it is and how dangerous it is. What this proviso would do is set up a task force for the state, working with the Attorney General's office, and we will gather the data. We'll work as a central thing across states, across all these different law enforcement agencies, find out what's going on, look to prepare a plan to figure out how best to deal with this and reduce the threat of domestic terrorism to our communities, because it is definitely a threat in some areas, and each different city or county deals with it differently. So we have to get consistency across the state. Law enforcement is so local that we're trying to get a bigger picture on this statewide. And I hope this will bring together a good group of people to get a good understanding and a plan on how to best deal with this threat.